Hello. I watched this video about a week ago, and I taped it. And then I found out the next day or the following day, the taping was wrong. So I'm going to redo this one. I just want to start out by saying this is the most disturbing video that I think I have seen. I don't know. It's been a long time. I am shocked, utterly shocked, and maybe it has been, and I'm not seeing it. But this video should be played on a loop in every fucking place in America. And I am just blown away that there's been nothing spoken about this on a really international scale. So I'll stop it periodically, but I'll let these assholes talking, I'm just so fucking frustrated with this thing. I shouldn't have watched it before and again. Anyways. Here we go.
Occasionally, congressional oversight does something useful, in this case, very useful and very important. They forced Dr. Anthony Fauci, to actually tell the truth about the National Institute of Health's funding of the Wuhan lab projects. Some other things about the pandemic. Fauci went into a closed-door meeting this week and provided 2 days of testimony, so under oath, 14 hours of questioning. Here now, chairman of the Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, Dr. and Representative Brad Wenstrup of Ohio. Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Most important revelation.
Well, there are many revelations. I think you can start with one, that, he was very cooperative, if you will, but over 100 times just on the first day, he couldn't recall.
Take the Fifth Amendment ever?
No, because we really weren't doing a deposition. Now, he is vulnerable to perjury because he's speaking to Congress. But this is a transcribed interview, so it's a little bit different. So they're not sworn in, but he is sworn.
So the cocksucker has to take. He can't lie. I mean, he's speaking in front of a congressman. So he's basically under oath. I don't know what they would get him for. It may or may not be perjury, but he's going to speak the truth. He doesn't want any repercussions.
Warned that you could perjure yourself. So
big things here. 6 feet of social distancing. Was there science behind that?
He said there was not.
All right. Here's where some of the lies will start coming in. 6 feet social distancing. For 3 fucking years, we had those little plats on the floor and whatever that we had to be 6 feet. Someone was in 5.5 feet, there'd be a fight. So the whole 6 feet thing was bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Think of all the times you had to wait in line and somebody was, eyeing you down and fights being had because somebody crossed that 6 foot bullshit line. It's 3 years of all these lies that we had to go through. 3 years. And then in one afternoon, he's like, fucking asshole.
What he came out and said was, this just kind of somehow came out of nowhere, and we just went with it. I mean, this were some of the conversations
mask mandates.
Same with the mask. Well, we just said use whatever mask because we're having trouble getting masks. No, there's no science behind it.
There's no science behind the masks. No science behind the mask. People died. Families lost family members from the arguments. Nobody went outside. Now, anybody had any common sense whatsoever knew the cotton masks were a fucking joke, okay? And that was 99% of the masks. But the masks in general, Fauci knew didn't work. Google, YouTube, whatever, there's got to be 1,000 times this asshole is talking about masks and wear your mask and wear your mask. And he knew it was bullshit from day one. Masks. 3 years we go through this, and then poof. In a 5-minute video, whatever this thing is oh, okay, mask. No, didn't work.
Was there a double-blind study? No, that's kind of hard. But so why were we forcing these things? And I'll just tell you as a doctor, you put on a mask, you just put cloth over your face. If you have COVID, you don't want to be wearing that mask because you're trying to expel what you have. Instead, you wouldn't blow into a handkerchief and put it over your face. So
This guy, right now speaking, a doctor from the great state of Ohio, if he mentioned these things in public over the 3 years where this asshole was in charge, they would have called him a kook. He probably would have lost his license. I mean, this is just this should be plastered everywhere.
There were just a lot of things like that, but the whole process of us funding laboratory experiments on coronaviruses, risky gain-of-function research in the lab.
Did you get to why he did it? Why that was?
I just want to fucking smack that motherfucker right now. Gee, look at that. Having children vaccinated when there was zero proof that it does anything for 19 years of age and younger. They had no part of this. And from 20 to whatever, 45, I mean, this was bullshit. This was fucking bullshit. 3 years of this. Businesses going out for this fucking asshole. Look at him. Fuck him.
Was done.
The research?
Yeah. Why they were so trusting to the Chinese?
Well, this is the interesting part, right? So people apply for a grant. He explained that there's a board that reviews the grant. He said they decide if it should go there, and then basically he said all I do is sign the grant and sign it over. So we asked about oversight. You know, like what about understanding the security and oversight of a foreign lab? He goes, well, I wouldn't even know how to do that.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
said, well,
It's interesting because his story's changed. I think that's fair.
Oh, yeah.
fair to say significantly. Back in February of 2021, I think
It changed when this asshole had to be accounted for his words. He wasn't for 3 years. Nothing. No oversight. Wuhan Lab, what are you talking about? Never heard of it. You're fucking funny. You signed off on it and you wouldn't tell anybody. This asshole and anybody in that whole group should be in jail. How is this asshole not in jail?
actually it was May of 2021. He and I had a fairly contentious interview about some of these issues. We're going to play that for you and see if the testimony has any bearing on it.
So now you making extrapolation that we sent in.
No, sir. I'm not making any extrapolation. No, sir. I'm not making any extrapolation. I'm simply saying the fact of the matter is that so much of what we were told as Americans about what we knew from the Chinese was based simply on taking their word.
Right.
Well, I would contend that it was. If you look early on, especially, what did we hear from President Trump? We were hearing what the WHO and China was saying, what President Xi was telling him.
Real quick, did we get any closer to the pressure that either Fauci brought or was put on Fauci to say that this was natural and not from man-made sources?
Well, he put the pressure by organizing a group. No, because it's interesting, as he organized the group that focused, these are their words, focused on disproving the lab leak theory, they were all saying amongst themselves, which we had discovered.
I want these two, one of them, just say, look at the fucking shot over here at Fauci and just say, this asshole needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail. All the corruption that came, oh my gosh. All the businesses again that would, all of it. Look. 3 years we all went through this together. It was fucking bullshit. And for what?
Well, this thing looks engineered. We certainly can't rule that out. The day he released Proximal Origins on the White House lawn and told the country that these scientists said it came from nature and tried to just drop, that very same day, there's a message from one of the authors saying we cannot rule out engineering, not the way this looks. And there's so much.
We know the why? Why he was doing that?
We don't know the why.
Because he's a fucking crook. That's why he was doing it. He loved the attention. Loved the attention. Oh my gosh, he would try to get his face on. Loved it. Loved it. That's why he did it. His fucking arrogance is why he did it.
Right? And we have suspicions, though. We'll keep going.
Keep going. Let me know when you find them, all right?
All right.
No, this is important work.
It's very
you guys
important work. 1.2 million people died.
That's a good point. A couple $1 trillion, too, there. We talked
1.2 million that were certified a COVID death. We'll never get the real number, and that which is another. Gosh, this guy.
We talked about this and the congressman's work in War Notes. Gives you a free look at the show.
All right, that's it. That's the video. I don't know what it'll take to get this guy and anybody who signed off or co-signed on his bullshit. Not co-signed, they didn't know people. The people that, the masks never, they didn't work. You knew they didn't work. And yet we were reminded every time we walked out of our house by either our neighbor's neighbor, their neighbor's neighbor, or anybody who sees a mask on the wrong way or whatever. And I mean, oh my gosh, they didn't work. All right, I appreciate you listening. Thanks.